Good morning, interwebs. I am currently traveling, so I thought I would film this little Q&A. I put out a call on Instagram and I was asked for my 3 top tips for people who are interested in selling at craft shows. So let's see if I can find my notes. I did make notes because I originally just tried to film this extemporaneously as I film most things, and I had a lot more than 3 thoughts. So I squished it down into 3 basic ideas with some subpoints. So, the first thing is that you need to believe that you and your work are valuable. Before you can sell it to people, you need to make a determination that it's worth something, and that whatever value you place on it is completely, right, regardless of what anybody tells you. I live in a community that is not always willing to pay the prices that handmade goods cost. And I don't charge hourly labor on top of things because that also seems kind of impractical, especially with the things that I crochet because, well, things take many, many hours and, that would make a toy crazy expensive. And I get the joy out of doing it, so you got to figure out a pricing strategy that works for you, but decide that it's valuable. Don't undersell yourself. Even if the person next to you is selling something similar and they're selling it at a price that you feel is devaluing the market, which happens to me sometimes when you'll have the people there who are selling dishcloths and things at an amount where you're like, I don't even know how you covered yarn cost, let alone the things, or your quality might be better than the person sitting next to you, and thus it's okay to charge more. And also in the idea of making sure that you and your work are valuable, believing that you are valuable, don't only make things that suck joy from your life. If everything you make is sucking joy, make something else. Even if it's the things that are popular or what everybody else is selling, and don't sell what everybody else is selling. That sucks joy in and of itself. Okay, my second tip is to make wise investments of both your money and your energy. So I think that's very important to invest a lot of time and a lot of mental and emotional energy in dreaming of your craft thing. So dream about what you want to make, dream about how you see your end game, what you're hoping to get out of it. Dream about all the things you can make. Don't necessarily go out and buy the supplies and make all the things. That's a bad investment, I could tell you. But dream about them long enough, and some things will repeatedly show up in those dreams about them, in those things that you think. Make those things, because those things are going to be enjoyable to make for you because you keep thinking about them. It's going to be satisfying because you're going to follow through on something that your mind keeps thinking about. And it's a good place to put your energy because that's clearly where your energy is going. So try it. But don't just try everything at the beginning. Pick and choose what things come up as more than just a fleeting idea. What things really come up as things that you want to grab onto and spend some time with. Also, investing that time and energy in the kind of dreaming or thinking process frequently will give you some inspiration for some things that you wouldn't have come up with otherwise. Okay. Also with that, don't invest in infrastructure for your booth setup until you've tried a few things. Try your first few shows to piecemeal things together with what you have or a few odds and ends you can pick up inexpensively. You will probably need a table of some sort, but don't just think you have to do the plain card table setup like everybody does. I personally don't like that setup. I don't like my booth to look like everybody else. It does not make me happy to sit behind a table with a tablecloth on it and a pile of things that I made. It makes me feel like I'm a church bazaar, which while they have their time and place, if you're going to a craft show and valuing your art, you are not a bazaar. You know what I mean? Okay. So once you've worked the kinks out, you'll figure out what things you need and where you can fill in the holes and where you can get more creative with things. And every show I go to, I kind of set up differently. I'm always moving things around. Plus, every setup you go to is going to necessitate different things. Even if they all say they're going to give you an 8x8 booth or a 10x10 booth, those dimensions are not always the same. And you might go there and you might be inside of a large tent somewhere, and there's going to be a tent pole running diagonally in the middle. Or I went to one show and they had told me there was going to be a side entrance to the tent. So my booth that looked like it was in the middle of the row was actually on a corner of an aisle. And so that changed the traffic flow. You just don't know. So be willing to like think of several ways you think you can put your stuff together, and kind of when you're planning out to invest in the different infrastructure pieces, make sure that you can set them up more than one way. Because if you can only set up one way, that way might not work for your venue, and that might not be good. Okay, the third and final tip, adjust your expectations. It is soul crushing, literally, to go to a show where it's a craft show or a vendor show that sounds like it's all going to be handmade things, or when you talk to the people that are running an event and they tell you all about how they love handmade items and that you are exactly what they're looking for, and you show up and everything is Premier Jewelry and Usborne Books and Pampered Chef. Those things, while they are good home-based businesses for some individuals, are not handmade. And your prices are not going to match the prices of those things, nor should they. And for some stupid reason, people are willing to, I don't usually sell jewelry in my booths, but I've sat next to people with beautiful handmade jewelry with a Premier Jewelry person right next to them, and people are willing to pay the prices for the Premier Jewelry even though it's not handmade and doesn't have the craftsmanship and is not unique. And then they find out somebody handcrafted something and they bulk at the prices, and they start asking the like really rude questions of, how long did this take you to make? Oh, and just all sorts of things that I just think are incredibly rude. Rudeness, that's another thing to adjust your expectation to. People will be rude. People will walk into your booth and take pictures of your things. People will ask you questions about how you made them that are so obviously them just stealing your ideas. And they will do it in the rudest way. People will balk at your pricing, but also with adjusting your expectations to the rude people and the people who have issues. Pricing is a big issue where I live, if you can't tell. And some of the things that I do, people have the skills to do. I don't sell plain hats, scarves, that sort of thing, because they don't sell, because everyone goes, oh yeah, we should just ask Aunt so-and-so to make this, because enough people where I am know how to do things simply that, yeah, it's not worth even trying. But do not underestimate the value of a kid's smile. One of the most awesome, like, crafty show experiences I had in recent, I've had two. I'll tell you about two of them. So one of them, I had a show, and there is somebody in my general area who I'm vaguely aware of, and is a kid who has some difficulties walking. So frequently he has like a walker, and his parents were pulling him in a wagon, and I happened to see him, and they walk by and he points and he goes, "The horse!" And his mom goes, "Did you see something you like?" And she just lit up. And so she grabs, I had a crocheted horse. The kid grabs it, hugs it, and like kind of leans on it. And it was great because I knew it was a toy that would not hurt him. It was a toy he could drag around by the mane, by the tail, by the whatever. It was going to be functional. And so the mom looked all excited. She's like, well, let's go ask Dad. So then the dad brings the kid by, and the dad has the same reaction the mom did. And one of the highest priced things in my booth went home with a family that was very, very happy, and I knew that everyone was going to enjoy it. Secondly, my second fun little story on the kid smiles, yay. I have been going to a regional festival for our state, and it moves around, and I went 2 years. They hold it in the same city for 2 years, though it's now, they're not holding it anymore, which is sad. But the one I went to this year, previously, I guess these people had bought something from me, and the mom looked really familiar when I saw them, but I couldn't place her for sure. And kids are hard from year to year because they get bigger. So it's hard to remember which kid is which. But this girl kept walking by and walking by and walking by, and then she finally picked what she wanted, and she was so excited. When we were actually doing like the purchase part, I was like, well, that's funny. And she goes, I bought a doll last year, and she'd been waiting the whole time to tell me all about how she bought the doll and she liked it and she remembered me. And even though I had changed company name, she knew who I was because she recognized the toys. And that was really like, aw. So kid smiles are worth a lot. The grumpy parents they drag behind them, not always, but the kid smiles. That's pretty good. So those are my 3 tips. Value yourself, invest wisely of your time and energy, and adjust your expectations. Because if you go into this thinking you're gonna make $1 million, living your dream, probably not. But you might make enough to cover your expenses and a little bit of your time, and get to do something you really enjoy and feel like you're making a difference in people's lives and helping them to embrace a more handcrafted life. And that is pretty good. Okay, I am traveling today. I will be back in Kansas on Sunday, so I will see you all then. Have a good day. Bye!